Thank you for tuning in to the Shikama Live Show with your host, Shikama. Today I'm going to talk about a story briefly, and I'm going to give a Bible parable. Now, for those of you who are not religious or who are atheist, you can listen too. It's not preaching anything, it's a parable, which means it's a story. It never happened. There is no truth to the actual story. It's used as an example, and you're supposed to use these parables as examples. Even Christians are supposed to use them as examples and not actually think they happened. So let's get on with the actual news story. So three roommates, they say three roommates, I'm sure it was one roommate, but anyway, three roommates, three kids have to live with each other to be able to afford their lifestyle, right? So they don't have, so I want you to first think about this. They don't have enough money to live on their own. They have to live with not one roommate, but two other roommates. They buy a couch. As they're sitting on the couch feels lumpy, they said. So then they look at the cushions and unzip the cushions, and out pops a bag, and then a few bags, and then more bags. And they counted, and it was money. $40,000 came out of the cushions of the couch. Now, the news, the mainstream media that, tries to program you said, what wonderful kids, they found $40,000, and what did they do? They gave it all back to the woman whose name was on the envelope. We actually don't know for a fact that the woman actually owned the money. It could be somebody else put the money in there and just put her name on it. We have no idea, right? We're not omniscient. We have no idea. But here's my point. The mainstream media, including Fox News, said, what wonderful kids. Oh, they're gonna have such karma coming back to them. They gave every nickel back to this woman. Oh, it's just so fantastic and heartwarming. We want you to feel good, and we want you to be idiots and repeat this stupid act. Now, I'm going to read you a biblical parable, and the parable is giving you an example of how to actually live your life. Matthew 25:14 through 30. And I'm using the expanded Bible just because. 14. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who was going to another place for a visit. Before he left, he called for his servants and told them to take care of his things while he was gone. He gave one servant 5 bags of gold, another servant 2 bags of gold, and a third servant 1 bag of gold. To each one as much as he could handle. Then he left. The servant who got 5 bags went quickly to invest the money and earned 5 more. In the same way, the servant who had 2 invested them and earned 2 more. But the servant who got 1 went out and dug a hole in the ground and hid the master's money. After a long time, the master came home and asked the servants what they did with his money. The servant who was given 5 bags of gold brought 5 more bags to the master and said, Master, you trusted me to care for 5 bags of gold, so I used your 5 to earn 5 more. The master answered, You did well. You are a good and loyal servant. Because you were loyal with small things, I will let you care for much greater things. Come and share my joy with me. Then the servant who had been given 2 bags of gold came to the master and said, Master, you gave me 2 bags of gold to care for, so I used your 2 bags to earn 2 more. The master answered, You did well. You are good and loyal. You are a good and loyal servant. Because you were loyal with small things, I will let you care for much greater things. Come and share my joy with me. Then the servant who had been given 1 bag of gold came to the master and said, Master, I knew that you were a hard man. You harvest things you did not plant. You gather crops where you did not sow any seed. So I was afraid and went and hid your money in the ground. Here is your bag of gold. The master answered, You're a wicked and lazy servant. You say you knew that I harvest things I did not plant, and that I gather crops where I did not sow any seed, so you should have put my gold in the bank. Then, when I came home, I would have received my gold back with interest. So the master told his other servants, Take the bag of gold from that servant and give it to the servant who has 10 bags of gold. Those who have much will get more, and they will have much more than they need. But those who do not have much will have everything taken away from them. Then the master said, Throw that useless servant outside into the darkness, where people will cry and grind their teeth with pain. Now, I want you to pay attention to the parable. So what is the parable actually talking about? Ostensibly, the parable is talking about God is giving you skill, right? Some skills, and you're supposed to make use of those skills and profit yourself, right? Which is really funny that hippies try and embrace Christianity. It seems amazing to me because hippies are the most unworthy of people to even study or be Christians, because they are the servant with the one bag of gold. They go and hide it and put it, and they don't believe in profiting. So it's like literally giving money, throwing money away. So in this parable, he gave gold to each. Literally, he gave gold to each servant. So I want you to think in maybe modern terms. He didn't give gold to servants. He invested his money with brokers, right? And the broker then is supposed to call the stock exchanges and invest the gold or invest the money for him. So literally, he comes back and says, okay, broker, how'd you do in the stock market? And the first guy goes, oh, I doubled your money. Second guy, I doubled your money. Last guy goes, oh, I didn't do anything. If that happened to you, wouldn't you be upset at the last broker? Yes, of course you would. And, if you're diversifying your portfolio, that's exactly what you do, right? You go with one, you invest in one area, then another market, then another market. And you hope that all the markets are profitable. But here we're talking more in human terms. And why is this parable, to me, equal to the news trying to report that the kids are so fantastic for giving away the money? Well, let's think about this for a second. If a person is able to accumulate $40,000 and apparently not miss the $40,000, whoever they are, not miss it, not even blink. Apparently it was in there so long that they sold the couch with the $40,000 in there and didn't think anything of it. The kids, on the other hand, are so broke that they have to live with 2 extra people to be able to afford a lifestyle. These idiots give the money away. Now, why do I call them idiots? Because poor people do this kind of crap all the time. If you ever read any sort of investing books or investing manuals or go to an investment sort of convention, the very first thing that the leader of the convention will say, or the author of the book will say, it's the hardest thing that they can teach people, the general people, regular people, is to actually strike when the iron is hot. To understand that you have opportunity looking you in the face. The guy, Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, said that in a nutshell, so many people have opportunity come right, staring them right in the face, and they don't take advantage of it and increase their life or make their life better. But they'll run around pretending that they're looking for opportunity. But they just never take advantage of it when it's staring them right in the face. This also is what, if you have heard of Darren Brown, he's a mentalist. If you're not aware of what magicians are, they're divided up into specialties. And this guy, instead of being a magician that does card tricks, he is a mentalist, and he will make you do things and think that you were the one to come up with the idea, and then when in fact it's him that has cornered you into doing something mentally, including having an atheist think that she had a religious experience. I want you to look up on here on YouTube Darren Brown, he's an English guy, and Good Luck. He had formulated this entire scenario where he picked out the most unlucky person by reputation in a small village, and he was going to try and get this guy to roll the dice, and he was going to give him like $10,000 if he got the dice correct. He named the dice that he was going to roll. Well, it took him weeks to get this guy to respond to the advertisement. Why? Because the guy would look away, the guy would cross the street, the guy would never respond to advertising. It literally, they had to hand deliver a letter to this guy saying, call this number right now, you may have won $10,000. He had tried all sorts of his mentalist tricks to get him to come to this contest. He even put a woman doing random surveys of everybody and handing them £100 to everybody who took the survey, and he positioned her right in the path of this guy's path to go home. What did the guy do? He came across the street and then went a different direction. The first time this guy had done it in over a month. They had been watching this guy for months. This guy said he was unlucky, and finally, after spending it, when he handed him the envelope, he sat with the guy and said, you're not unlucky. And then he sort of trained him to be lucky. And what was his training? Simply to take advantage of opportunities. Now, these children, and this is repeated on the news, in movies, on TV shows all the time. These kids gave away the $40,000. They are poor. They are broke. They are the bad servant. What they should have done was taken the $40,000, buy an investment property. They can still give back the $40,000. Why? Because then they would have been rolling in the money, because they would have had income coming into them. They could have made a nice down payment on an investment property and then reap the benefits for the rest of their lives, really, and give back the $40,000 if they're so inclined to do so. But poor people do this all the time. There's a story of the bum, of several homeless guys who find $100, who find a check for something, for this and that and rather, who find lottery tickets and give it away or turn it in or what have you. And everybody says, oh, what a nice bum. What do you mean, what a nice bum? He's just relegated himself to being a bum, to being homeless for the rest of his life. For those of you listening to my voice today, if an opportunity presents itself to you like this in the future, I want you to be like the first servant who got 5 bags of gold. It doesn't mean you can't give back whatever you found later, but the opportunity is there. $40,000, give it away. How stupid can you be? Oh, what nice kids. Karma will come back to them. No, it will not. They will die broke. The end. That's reality. That's the end of the story. Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show.